We really appreciate it. Further east into Seminole County. Keep in mind, a lot of these construction zones are now out of the metro Orlando area. So where am I talking about? I'm talking far western portions like Champions Gate, and then right here in Seminole, Sanford area. I'm going to expect some probably heavy flooding over the next 24 hours out in this construction area because, hey, it's under construction, it's not ready. So keep in mind when you're getting ready to hit the road, just because you have a route determined where you're going to go, you may have to reroute yourself. And if the roadway is flooded, turn around. Heading further west into Lake County this morning along State Road 46, 46A, even 429 on the new extension coming northbound into Lake. Looking good. Mount Dora also checking out very nicely. Obvious, your drive times across Central Florida are staying in the green this morning because there's not as much traffic out there. The key to this is please stick with us, stay home, we'll be safe, and we'll get through this and we'll be back to normalcy kind of on Friday. Guys, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thank you, Trooper Steve. We're getting new pictures in from the Tampa Bay area showing clear signs that Hurricane Ian is approaching. These photos are from the Tampa Police Department. They show the water receding along Bayshore Boulevard, which is the waterfront road that runs along the Hillsborough Bay. The area is under mandatory evacuation orders. And as we've been saying, Hurricane Ian grew into an extremely dangerous Category 4 storm, packing sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. This is new video coming in from Key West. Wow, look at those trees just blowing there. You could see rising floodwaters and crashing waves.
We're getting another look at the severe damage people in South Florida woke up to this morning. Take a look at this. As Hurricane Ian moves in, these are aerials over Broward County. Although the area is not on the storm's direct path, Ian spawned at least 2 tornadoes there last night, ripping up backyards, and tearing down trees. Tens of thousands of homes and businesses across the county right now without power. Listen, emergency shelters in Lake County are open for those who need to leave their homes.
Leaders there are concerned with flooding, especially in low-lying areas. News 6 investigator Lewis Boldwin joins us live from Emergency Operations Center. Lewis.
Hi, Crystal. We're here at the Emergency Operations Center in Lake County. We just got an update from county officials. They are basically asking everyone in the county to be wherever you're going to be by 2 o'clock today and stay there. We just shot some video inside the EOC. As you can see, it is fully staffed there. Right now, they have 15 shelters open around the county. Many of them are pet friendly and equipped to handle people with special needs. But they say be sure and bring any necessities you might need, like any medications you need. Above all, they are asking people to stay safe and stay put.
We are respectfully asking our citizens to help us help you. How can you do that? By heeding the directions from emergency management, making sure that you're not out on the roadways, especially post-storm.
Now, they also have a citizen information line set up. That number is 352-253-9999, and they are staffed from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to answer any questions that you might have. As I mentioned, there are 15 shelters set up around the county. They also have 6 sandbag locations that are going to be, they will be handing out sandbags until noon today. So you have just a little bit more time if you still need sandbags. If you need all of those locations, you can get them at clickorlando.com. For now, we're live in Lake County. I'm Lewis Bolden, getting results, News 6.
Lewis, great work. That number again, 352-253-9999, for those of you who were trying to grab a pen like I was. The latest track of Hurricane Ian also has flooding-prone areas in Central Florida on high alert right now. Yeah,
officials in Seminole County say Ian will likely bring serious flooding. Catherine Silver continues our live coverage from Lyman High School. Catherine, there's a reason why they're there.
Absolutely. This is one of the evacuation shelters that just opened this morning after those evacuation orders went out to those flood-prone, low-lying areas around 8 o'clock this morning. We just got an update from emergency officials here. The sheriff and the fire chief, they are urging people to leave now if you plan on heading to one of these emergency shelters. And here's why. I'm going to show you the current conditions. You can see it's raining right now. The winds have not picked up yet. There will become a point where it is too dangerous to travel, and that is why Seminole County says if you need to leave and get somewhere where you're going to ride out this storm, the time to leave is now. I want to also show you the entrance to this emergency shelter that's set up. He's allowed to get a behind-the-scenes look at the setup there so you have a better idea.
It looks like we're losing the connection there from Catherine Silver there at Lyman High School, one of the emergency shelters. She's there right now as crews are expected to give an update soon. Right now there are there are emergency shelters in Seminole County, Lake Mary High School, Lawton Childs Middle School, Midway Elementary School, and Winter Springs High School. There's also shelters that have been added that have added resources for people who may have some medical needs. Those are, and any documents you need about any of their, health issues or the shots that they've received. Very important documentation that you need to get. And of course, put them in a little baggie because, if it rains or anything like that, you don't want them to get damaged. And don't forget, if you haven't done so already, download our free Pinpoint Hurricane Tracker app. There you can stay up to date with the latest watches and warnings and see exactly where that storm is.
And once again, our Pinpoint weather team will be doing live chats throughout the day. These are kind of cool. You can take part on clickorlando.com, our new 6 Plus app for your smart TV, along with our YouTube and Facebook pages. Take a break here. We'll be back with more news and weather right after this.
You're watching News 6, Getting Results. Here's a live look from our Orlando health camera. We'll be right back.
Hi, Julie. All right, we're ready to go. I'm Justin Mormouth coming to you live from the News 6 Newsroom studio as we continue to pinpoint Hurricane Ian getting ready to make landfall. I'm joined by meteorologist Julie Broughton. Take us through what you're seeing, Julie, and the track that remains pretty unchanged since about 5 a.m.
Yeah, we just got a new update at 11 o'clock. No big surprises with that update. We are still talking about a powerful Category 4 hurricane. As of 11 o'clock, winds are still at 155 miles per hour. Now, for this to be a Category 5, the winds would need to go up to 157 miles per hour. So at this point, I mean, we're just talking about a potentially catastrophic storm. The outer edge of the eye wall has already begun to move onshore in the Port Charlotte area. Now we're taking a look at closer, zoomed-in version of the track. So many people curious about how the storm will be when it gets to us. Here's a little bit wider look out. You can see again that outer edge of the eye wall beginning to move onshore, but notice how wide that eye is. It's about 45 miles wide, so technically for it to be considered that it's made landfall, half of that eye has to make its way onshore. Now, we're already seeing some very squally weather with this. You can see those heavier showers right now affecting the Cape Canaveral area. We've already seen tropical storm force winds sustained in some parts of Brevard County, and we'll continue to see tropical storm force winds spreading to the north. At some point today, all of us will experience those. This is a look at the satellite imagery. You can see how large that system is. But again, by the time it makes its way into our area late tonight and into the overnight hours tomorrow, we're still looking at the potential of it being a Category 1 storm as it works into areas like southern Polk County and into Osceola County. Again, just talking about a powerful storm. I'm sitting here looking out the window. Justin, I know you're not facing the window, but just looking out, it is just one of those very tropical looking days because that's what we're dealing with, that tropical weather out there.
You know, what's interesting is that, you know, a lot of people look at the strength of the storm here in Central Florida saying, hey, it's not going to be, you know, a Category 4 or 5 like it is right now when it gets to us.
Right.
But it doesn't take much to knock over trees. The grounds are already saturated. They're getting more saturated, and it won't take much. Tropical storm force winds, they'll probably do it.
Right, yeah, absolutely. We could definitely see some damage as far as that. And we also, oh, yep, I'm getting a note that I can use Max 2, which is another weather system. So that is nice to see. So if we could switch over to that here in a moment. But yeah, Justin, we definitely could see some of that damage on trees. And also one thing that we always have to worry about, and I know we've talked about it all morning, and we just keep reiterating it, anytime we're dealing with a landfalling tropical system, we are looking at that potential of tornadic activity. All of our southern and central counties are under tornado watches until 5 o'clock. We did have a tornado warning this morning around 8 in Osceola County. That was a Doppler indicated tornado, so there was no confirmation, but we're talking about that rotation in the atmosphere. It doesn't take much in a situation like this to spin up some short-lived tornadoes.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of people like to compare hurricanes, and maybe that helps them cope or what they can expect. And yes, this is taking a very similar track to Charlie. In fact, Charlie made landfall in Punta Gorda. That is right next door to Port Charlotte, where this is expected to make landfall. It did a number on Port Charlotte. $3.2 billion for Charlotte County in damages from Hurricane Charlie. It's taking that similar track. The difference is, though, that eye wall of this one, of Ian, is just significantly larger than what we saw with Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie was a small, compact storm, and it moved through quickly. I'm trying to remember the timing of it. I was working in Orlando at the time, but it moved through very quickly in the late evening to overnight hours, and it came through, and then that part of the storm was over, and then it moved to the recovery and the cleanup. The hurricane force winds with Charlie only extended out about 35 miles from the center of circulation. So again, remember, with Ian, the eye wall is 45 miles wide approximately, and the hurricane force winds extend out about 45 to 50 miles per hour, and then the tropical storm force winds extend out about 175 miles from that center of circulation.
I know a lot of people are interested about timing. When is it going to affect them? When can they expect to really feel the brunt of this storm? What would you tell folks who are anxiously waiting, and when should they be in place? No more driving around, or is that time has already passed?
Yeah, well, I think if you can just hang out where you are, that's a great idea because it's been raining all night and all morning, so roadways are wet, visibility is low. Even just looking out right now, it looks a little foggy over the lake, some rain and mist out there. So if you can hang out where you are now, it's a good time just to go ahead and do that. Settle in, stay with us. We'll keep you up to date. But I would say by late this afternoon, by 5, 6 o'clock, definitely that's when we'll start to see those stronger winds, the stronger squalls. And again, we are looking at that potential of tornadic weather as well. And, I got a question. Someone emailed us. I can't remember if it was email or Facebook, but it was a good question. The gentleman was asking, you keep saying the storm's going to weaken by the time it gets here. What factors are in place for it to do so? What would cause it to go from a storm that's so strong to maybe down to a Category 1 by the time it reaches Polk County and Osceola County and Southwest Orange County? And you have to remember that hurricanes are fueled by the warm ocean waters. So Ian has been sitting out over the Gulf. The Gulf, 90 degrees in some spots, very warm. It is just fueling that. And that's why we've seen such rapid intensification. Now, as Ian moves on shore, it loses its fuel source. So as it's over land, it doesn't have that warm ocean water feeding it. So it will lose about half of its strength for every 6 hours that it's on land, which is why it will still be potentially a Category 1 by the time it reaches our southwestern counties. So again, those southwestern counties are Polk County, Osceola County, even into Southern Lake and Sumter counties as well.
Are we expecting, I know that the word has been all morning that this could strengthen into a Category 5. It almost is at this point. Is that what you're expecting as it gets closer to shore and those waters are even warmer?
I thought they would upgrade it at 11 o'clock. I thought by 11 o'clock they probably would have found some stronger winds. They didn't. They kept it at 155. With the eye wall beginning to move on shore, it's kind of iffy, if we will, because already if that eye wall's moving on shore, it may have lost the opportunity for intensification. But again, we're just talking about 2 miles off being a Category 5. So again, this really is a potentially catastrophic storm where it's coming ashore in Southwest Florida.
I mean, only a handful of Category 5 storms have made landfall in the U.S. The most recent, of course, Michael, that was in 2018 up in the Panhandle, and then Andrew in 92 was another historic storm. I mean, but it's right there up there with those storms.
Yeah, and look how large it is. I mean, it's large.
Huge.
It's already, we're already seeing rain bands from it extending up into North Florida, up toward Jacksonville. So it's basically covering almost the entire state. Just about everyone is feeling some effect from the storm right now that hasn't even officially made landfall.
So we just saw the zoomed in on Central Florida, Cape Canaveral, up and down our coast, Brevard County, Volusia County, Flagler County. As this storm moves in and begins to whip on our coast, that could have significant damage and cause significant damage to the beaches with erosion and what have you, right?
Right, we are looking at that potential beach erosion. Also, even though the storm is coming in from the Gulf, we're looking at rip currents out there, and we will be through the weekend. Of course, over the weekend, it will move out over the Atlantic and be moving up the East Coast. But yeah, I mean, this is bringing effects just about everywhere. Again, there's that zoomed in track. So you're seeing 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, 90-mile-per-hour winds as the center of circulation is over Polk County. And then where you see that yellow line, that's indicating where it will weaken from a Category 1 hurricane into a tropical storm as it makes its way up toward Metro Orlando and then up toward northern Brevard County and into Volusia County as we head into the day tomorrow. But again, just looking at that radar presentation, it's just huge.
It's going to take a minute. And I know that some folks who are watching this have been through a hurricane before. But there are plenty of people who have moved to Florida who have never dealt with something like this. Over the next 24, 48 hours, what would you tell them? What tips do you have? And maybe some words of encouragement as we move through the next 24 hours.
I mean, it can be scary. You and I have gone through many hurricanes here, and, you know what to expect, but every storm is different. And I would say, just make sure that you, obviously by now, you need to have your supplies. A lot of people were freaking out about water and that they couldn't find water. Well, your taps will continue to work. If you're uncomfortable with the idea that maybe your water will be compromised after the storm, fill up anything you have around the house. Fill up containers. Also, fill up your bathtubs, which as I'm saying that, I remember I forgot to do that on my way out, and I always do that. That's not for drinking. That's for flushing the toilet if if you should lose water, and also for hand washing. But that is always a good idea. And especially if you're a parent and you have children, just keep in mind that kids, they play off of our energy, and we're all nervous. It's all it's an high anxiety situation. I interviewed a child psychologist, and she talked about so many times as parents we want to be like, oh, don't be scared, there's nothing to be scared of, but admit to your kids, like, yeah, well, this is making us nervous, but here are the reasons we're going to be safe. We are going to go into our bathroom where there are no windows, and we're going to have flashlights, and we're going to play games, and we're going to eat snacks. But yeah, we're nervous, but we're going to be safe because of X, Y, and Z. So, it's going to be a long next 24 to 36 hours, but we're going to make it. We're going to be here, and we will be here, Justin, through the duration of this, joining you online, on TV, everywhere that you can find us. We will be here, keeping you up to date and letting you know what you need to know.
I'm sure you've had plenty of conversations with your now 13-year-old
oh
about
my
what
gosh,
she
can
can
you believe I'm a
expect.
teenager?
But it's just interesting because they're going to be cooped up. A lot of people are going to be cooped up. They're going to want to get outside. They're going to want to assess the damage, if they have any, on their homes once this storm passes. That's where before and after the storm, that's where a lot of the injuries and really deaths happen when it comes to a hurricane.
Yeah, and that is what is so sad, is we see so many chainsaw injuries or downed power lines, people getting electrocuted or shocked because they don't realize they're down power lines. Of course, with all the rain that will be falling, we'll see flooding on area roadways. So don't drive through water. It sounds cheesy. We say turn around, don't drown, but it only takes about 6 inches of water to float a car. You just cannot drive into standing water that you don't know how deep it is. And generators, every year after we have a storm, we unfortunately cover so many lives lost because of improper generator usage. And we have a whole section on clickorlando.com of how to use your generator, how to stay safe, what to do. Because like you said, there are so many things that happen, and you hear people like snakes floating into people's houses. We heard that during one of our pressers today, amphibious creatures, like, oh, no.
That's the last thing that want to happen.
Not them.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to lose power, and they're on standby. But just be prepared. Charge everything you can now while you still have power. Make sure all your backup power sources are charged as well. Julie, you and I have to run. We're got to be on TV in about 15 minutes, but we appreciate everyone joining us on whichever platform you're watching us on right now. And we're going to be doing this periodically throughout the day, throughout the next few days. So we hope you can join us each and every time we have one of these meteorologist chats. But Julie Broughton, thank you, and we'll see you on TV.
Thanks, Justin.
during storm recovery. I will tell you that we have no idea what the potential damage could be from the storm, but one of the things that we do proactively as a county is that we enter in debris removal contracts, and we have those contracts in place, and that brings in extra haulers post a hurricane that can help us within those immediate 72 hours after the hurricane to remove debris. Our utilities workers understand this is a bit of an inconvenience for our residents, and we do appreciate everyone's cooperation and patience as we move through this process. With our solid waste facilities, I want to give you an update. The Orange County landfill and our transfer stations are scheduled to close to the public today at noon, and they will remain closed through Friday. And with that, let me just also share some other information with you. We know that we have a number of people who have been evacuating from surrounding counties and throughout the state. They have been coming. We do have capacity within our hotels. At this point, Visit Orlando estimates that the occupancy rate is at 85% within our community. So we still have 15% capacity within our local hotels. In terms of the homeless, I get asked questions about, are we taking care of the homeless? Yes, we are. We're working very closely with our homeless shelters. We're working closely with the Homeless Services Network to ensure that our homeless individuals are housed. I'm told that we have approximately 60 individuals now in non-congregate housing within Orange County as well. And with that, I'm going to ask Sheriff Mina to come forward and to provide some comments to you. And then after that, I will for our Spanish-speaking media, I'm going to ask some of our staff to come up and assist us in providing some additional details. With that, Sheriff Mina.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon. So I just want to reiterate, the Orange County Sheriff's Office is prepared to keep everyone safe before, during, and after the storm. We have more than double the amount of personnel that we usually have out there on the streets to keep everyone safe. I do want everyone to heed the warnings that we're giving you, that after 2 o'clock, we should not be on the roadways unless we're essential personnel. And for those of us who are staying in our homes, to make sure we shelter in place, the Orange County Sheriff's Office is assisting with the voluntary evacuation of some of those mobile home parks that are vulnerable to flooding and other damage. So we will be out there. Again, as I stated, we have more than double the personnel that we usually have out there as far as law enforcement is concerned. So if you see suspicious activity, if you see people doing things they're not supposed to be doing, committing crimes, call the Sheriff's Office, call 911, and those people will be caught and taken to jail, and they will face harsher penalties because of the state of emergency. And again, if anyone needs anything from the Orange County Sheriff's Office or law enforcement, please don't hesitate to reach out, call 911 or our non-emergency number. And we're also working with our other municipal police departments to ensure that we're all on the same page as far as the safety of this community. Our deputies, carry generators and chainsaws for the flooding aspect. We have many watercraft, many vehicles that can go through water for rescues or anything like that. Of course, we have our aviation, our helicopter assets as well for after the storm. And remember, after the storm, that people need to avoid down power lines and standing water. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Before I ask the staff to come up, we also do have several of our Orange County commissioners who have joined us today. They've been working in their respective districts to ensure that residents are safe. We have Commissioner Myra Uribe and Commissioner Maribel Gomez-Cordero who joined us as well. But also at this point, I'm going to ask some of our staff to come up. I call them the three amigos who are going to be coming up at this point. First, familiar face to you, Dr. Raul Pino, who is going to come up, and he's going to share with you some information about our shelters and what we're doing with those operations. Then we're going to have our utilities director, who is going to come up, Mr. Ed Torres. He'll talk to you about some of the efforts that we are doing in Spanish with our utilities. And then we'll have from our Public Works Department, Ms. Diana Almodovar, who will provide some information in Spanish about what we're doing with our public works operations. And so with that, Dr. Raul Pino.
Gracias, alcalde. Buenos días. Esta es una información con respecto a los shelters, los albergues de emergencia que el condado ha activado para su seguridad y protección. Hay 5 shelters abiertos durante esta parte del huracán para la población en general y 3 de ellos, Paca High School, Oak Ridge High School y Timber Creek High School, aceptan que ustedes puedan traer sus animales con ustedes para también protegerlos. Los otros 2 son Ocoee High School y Dr. Philly High School, y esos 2 no aceptan animales para la protección. También el condado, con la asistencia del Departamento de Salud del Estado en Orange County, ha activado 3 shelters para personas con special needs. Las personas que tienen necesidades especiales, que usan oxígeno, que usan algún equipo electrónico, que tienen CPAP machine o que tienen ventiladores o que tienen algún tipo de limitaciones que necesitan ayuda, por favor llamen al 311 y allí le darán la cita para qué shelter lo van a mandar y cómo recogerlo. Les proveemos también la transportación y los 3 shelters activados son Olympia, Freedom y University High School. Esa es toda la información con respecto a los shelters. Ed.
Gracias, doctor Pino. Buenos días todavía. El Departamento de Utilidades provee servicios de agua potable, tratamiento de aguas negras y recoger servicios de basura, y reciclaje y desechos de jardín. Hemos estado preparándonos para esta tormenta desde la semana pasada. Hacemos ejercicios constantes de prepararnos para tormentas y no esperamos ninguna interrupción de servicio con respecto a agua potable o aguas negras. Con relación a los servicios de recoger la basura, terminamos de recoger la basura hoy a las 12 del mediodía. También cerramos el vertedero y las estaciones de transferencia de basura hoy al mediodía. Esos servicios van a estar cerrados después del mediodía de hoy. También jueves y viernes no vamos a poder recoger la basura. Sabemos que esto es inconveniente para nuestros residentes, pero espero que entiendan que tenemos una tormenta muy fuerte, como dijo el alcalde Demings. Y esperamos resumir servicios tan pronto sea prudente y las circunstancias y los vientos estén mejores. Con relación, de nuevo, con relación al servicio de agua potable y aguas negras, no esperamos ninguna interrupción, a menos que, por supuesto, los vientos sean muy fuertes y los árboles caídos puedan romper una tubería de agua. Aparte de eso, tenemos generadores para mantener el servicio de ambos, agua potable y aguas negras. Eso es todo para el Departamento de Utilidades. Ingeniero Diana.
Gracias, Ed. Buenos días a todos. Yo represento aquí a Obras Públicas. En Obras Públicas estamos monitoreando todas las áreas inundables en Orange County. Tenemos bombas que nos están ayudando a mover el agua de estas áreas inundables, pero estamos esperando hasta 24 pulgadas de lluvia, lo cual sobrepasa la capacidad de nuestras facilidades en Orange County. Pero como estuvimos preparándonos para este evento, estuvimos bajando los niveles de muchas de las áreas para poder tener capacidad en los envases. Así que nosotros continuaremos trabajando con la comunidad. Por favor, yo exhorto que todos llamen al 311 y nos dejen saber las áreas de problemas que tengan problemas en el condado. Tenemos bombas de agua para aliviar estas áreas y trataremos continuamente de estar en comunicación con todos ustedes. Muchas gracias.
All right, muchas gracias, mis amigos. We're glad that you're here. We wanted to provide some interpretation for some of the actions that have been done within Spanish within our community. What I'm going to do at this time is open it up for any questions that you may have.
All right, there you heard it. That was an update from county officials from the Orange County Emergency Operations Center. Stay with us. News 6 will be back with continuing coverage with Justin and Bridget.